folks. Kind of an interesting, you know what? I went and took a nap and I woke up and I had like 16 messages waiting for me. Thank you for all the folks who messaged me to let me know that, hey, John, you're missing out on kind of a big story. Pink Floyd. This is a little clicky bait in some ways, even though, listen, of course, I know this is a really good cause and it's a great thing. I'll start off by saying, no, Roger Waters is not involved in this reunion. He's not involved in it. Pink Floyd is releasing new music, first after almost 3 decades to raise money for the people of Ukraine. The band's announced on Thursday. Now remember, Waters has been gone for a long time, since the 80s, early 80s, and Wright has passed away in 2008. The song is called, hey, and by the way, there's a link to the song in the description of this video. And the song is called Hey Hey Rise Up, features Pink Floyd members David Gilmour and Nick Mason, with vocals from a Ukrainian singer whose name is Andriy Klivniuk. And he's from the band Boombox, who David Gilmour performed with before. But as I mentioned, Roger Waters was not involved in this. He has called, though, Putin a gangster. So I haven't heard from Roger Waters in a little bit. Not that I personally have. Yeah, like Roger Waters and I are really good friends. Not really. So, like I mentioned, he had played David Gilmour with Klivniuk before, and this is sort of a patriotic song. It sounds like Pink Floyd and doesn't sound like Pink Floyd in some ways. As I mentioned, I would gladly want you to leave this live stream to listen to the song. It is in the description of this video. But come back after if you can. That we'd appreciate to have you on here. So let's see what we know about the track. Originally, he sang the track, and a lot of people have been adding their own flavors. Klivniuk's have been performed on the track in front of a cathedral, and it's been posted on social media. And that's where it doesn't sound like Pink Floyd, but let's remember, this is not one of those things where, oh, shucks, golly gee. Let's remember why he's doing it, and it's an important song, right? And I mean, it took this to get to, not that David Gilmour and Nick Mason were in bad company. They were always friends. It's the Roger Waters thing that, was always a little touchy. So, what do we know so far? Hey Hey Rise Up also features Guy Pratt on bass. So everyone's been saying, because, of course, they want everyone, all the people who are writing about this have their own motives, of course. So if they want a story, they want people to read their own story. So I thought about this and I went, well, it's members of Pink Floyd, really. Tomorrow, just keep in mind I think it's, I don't have it nearby. Tomorrow we're going to have Serge Tagliaragno, who is the lead singer, or was the lead singer, because things have really gotten complicated now, of the band Leonid and Friends. They do all the Chicago stuff. Now, the band has just announced they're going on tour, after all, in the U.S. So I'm not sure how that's going to go down. I mean, it's not their fault. It's the man who's running their country, because they're all Russian, and Tagliaragno is Ukrainian. So that already, last time I talked to him, he was in Kyiv. It was not as safe as it is today, but it's still not safe today. And no one can replace Richard, right? Your rank, Pookie. But anyway, tomorrow he's going to join us live. I'll be putting it up as a premiere right after this video. You'll see it on our channel. And Serge is going to join us. And he says he might sing some songs for you, but he's going to take your questions. And here's a Ukrainian in Kyiv dealing with this every day, and another singer. And I didn't put this on to tag this, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, right? So getting back to the original story, which is Pink Floyd releasing their first new music in 3 decades to help people of Ukraine. It features David Gilmour and Nick Mason, and of course the gentleman from Boombox who has played with David Gilmour before. His name is Andriy Klivniuk. And he's a good singer. Here he was. I mean, he's in the hospital right now, recovering from wounds from the hospital, shrapnel wounds. And David Gilmour had a chance to play him the song so that he'd have a chance to hear it. And he loved it, of course. Of course he loved it. I look like a troll right now. There we go. Put some light on this. Like I just woke up, like, and I swear to God, 16 people had emailed me and said, "Hey man, you got to cover this. This is a big song." Everyone's speculating right now. People are asking me why wasn't Roger Waters part of it, because he's against the war as well, and I don't know why. I was it complicated? I don't know. We're just speculating here. But the one of the releases basically said to make sure that everyone knew that Roger Waters wasn't part of this. And it would have been really nice. But here's the thing. This is bigger than what's happening in Ukraine is bigger than whether Roger Waters is involved in it or not. Of course I wanted him to be involved. But, all we can do right now is speculate. And no one really knows why. So I'm going to get to some of your questions. Let me just bring it on here. Thanks for everyone who's been supporting the channel. I appreciate that. It means an awful lot to us. And here's our feed. So I'm going to bring it up here so I can read your comments and things. Here we go. Oops. Be nice if I knew how this worked, eh? Wouldn't that be nice if I knew how this worked? Okay. Kristen says, thank you. Thank God for no Rogers. Roger R says. Pookie says, serious about Pink Floyd. Pookie, who can replace Richard Wright? Jerry and the radio. Wow. Roger Waters and David Gilmour can agree on nothing. It is so strange, right? So Christopher 628, I would assume, but I can't assume that David Gilmour reached out the olive branch to Roger Waters, but we don't know the relationship they had before they decided to do this song. There's always been a lot of things going on. Roger says, Pink Floyd won't let me promote my solo material on the Pink Floyd website, which is odd. But we don't know. We don't know what went on before that. We're not sure. Can you assume they had a good relationship and Roger, that David decided not to call him? We're all speculating. We don't know anything, right? So let's be careful with that. But it is a little, I looked at that and I went, oh, well, that's interesting. That I immediately thought the three of them had gotten back together. Because Richard can't, because we lost Richard quite a while ago, in 2008, if I remember correctly. So what exactly is happening? Glenn Brock, the David Gilmour and Nick Mason, along with the Ukrainian singer from a band called Boombox that David Gilmour has played with before, Andriy Klivniuk, he sang this patriotic Ukrainian song a little while ago. I'm not sure when it was. I saw it on YouTube. And a lot of other people decided to take his clip, Andrei's clip, and add drums to it or do something else just to add and to show their support for the Ukrainian people. Now, David Gilmour, who, as I said, knows Andre, decided to make it a Pink Floyd song. There's nobody from Pink Floyd singing on this song. It's all Andre. It's quite nice. And the guitar solo in it it's David Gilmour. You can really tell. And there's a video. And by the way, there's a link to the video in the description of this website. Please, it's much bigger than my reporting on this. Check it out. You can leave this message. You can leave this. Please like our video before you do, though. And just check out the song. It's a nice video, draped in the Ukrainian colors of yellow and blue. And it sounds like Pink Floyd. The singing doesn't, but of course it's not supposed to. And Andre right now is recovering in the hospital. David Gilmour did contact Andre and play him the song over the phone, which is really nice. And he loved it. Of course he loved it. I mean, and anyone who's speculating on why Roger Waters is not on there, we've got to remember things like, okay, who's in control of the name? If it's David Gilmour and Nick Mason, or David Gilmour, by having Roger Waters on there and naming it Pink Floyd, does that have anything to do with anything? I don't know. Maybe I'm full of crap. I don't know. So maybe that just would have complicated things, even though I think a lot of people would have liked to have the reunion that they could possibly have, which is that. But again, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it's not about that really, but it is. But it's more about the Ukrainian people. Okay. So, Glenn, I hope that answers your question. I see you have the cover of Animals as your avatar. Blues Rider, wow, is right. Liberty A. Bell. Yeah, there you go. A lot of Pink Floyd fans coming on here. What's going on? A new song to benefit Ukraine? Yes. We've just gone over it again. I'll go over it one more time, then we'll sign off. Pookie says, hey, John, check out Red Hot Chili Peppers' new song, These Are the Ways. Okay. Jerry in the Radio, any idea when this music will come out? It's out now on video. It's just one song. It's a one-off song. So just, it's not like Pink Floyd's getting back together to do, Nick Mason's doing Saucer Full of Secrets. Roger has a thing on his YouTube channel recently that he had him basically on Putin's side. Okay, well, I saw Roger Waters saying that he thought Putin was a gangster, so I haven't seen that. Just watched the video, a very emotional video. This is from Day Tripper. Put together extremely well, I agree. It was also good to see the guys together. Too bad Roger wasn't involved. But he has an extremely huge ego. Pookie says 90.7K subscribers. Thank you. In the next few days, we'll be at 91. I was just talking to flamenco guitarist Jesse Cook today as just off topic for a second. And he is at 107,000 subscribers. And he says it was nice. He got his plaque within a week from YouTube. They were really good about it. So in the next few months, we'll reach 100,000. Tony says everyone's a geopolitical expert these days. Well, what's happening? If you don't believe what's happening, then anyway. Pookie. Roger as a guested live with Nick Mason Band. He has. John Van Houten. History says it all. David, Richard, and Nick proved we're all the talent in Pink Floyd. Roger was a big part of that. Really big part of that. Ron Beal. Hey, John. David solo is great on the new song. Yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, it's unmistakable. I mean, it's David Gilmour, right? And it sounds like David Gilmour, except when the singing comes. Andre's singing. Of course, he's Ukrainian, and it's fitting that he would sing this patriotic Ukrainian song. Of course, it is. And like I said a while ago, so many people have taken Andrei Klivniak's singing of that song in front of the cathedral and added their own things to it. But no one's upped it to a point of Pink Floyd. And the guys who are left, David Gilmour and Nick Mason, they've got the name, right? And they can call it that. You can call it whatever you want. You're allowed to call it whatever you want. It's up to you. But let's not forget what this is for, and it's maybe bigger than spats and bands. Colton Palmer. I'm glad Pink Floyd came together to support Ukraine. And by the way, as I mentioned a while ago, just so that you know, Serge Tagniragdo is going to be our guest tomorrow from Kyiv, live, taking your questions. He's the lead singer of Leonid and Friends, or was. Now there seems to be a lot of drama around that because they say they want to tour the U.S. now. They're going to tour the U.S., but Serge cannot go because Serge's dad is ill. And I think I don't know if I don't know what's going on. I'm going to wait for Serge to tell us, but I don't know. We'll wait for Serge tomorrow, and he might play some songs for us from his apartment in Kyiv. We visited him a couple of weeks ago, and I told him, I said, Serge, what else can I do? Because he does a podcast or a Facebook podcast from his page almost every single day from Kyiv on like I said, on Facebook. So, but he's going to join us tomorrow. This will be the third time we've talked to him. We talked to him the first time when he was releasing his first album. So there's another, a related story related to our channel where he's going to come on at 11 a.m. Atlantic time tomorrow, which is 10 a.m. Central time. So there you go. And that's the only time you could really, really do it. Let's read some more comments. Claudio, ciao, come on, Ukraine. Claudio from Paraguay. Piper, the dates have gone. My best album from Pink Floyd. Okay. Susan says, I read an interview this morning on Facebook that Dave gave a talk about the release. go to David Gilmour, the legend. Okay, thank you, Susan. Pookie. After Dark Side of the Moon, Waters took control. Never listened to The Wall. I wasn't a big fan of The Wall. You know, and people will come up to you, how can that be? Hey, you either like something or you don't. I thought The Wall should have been a single album. That's okay. There was a lot of old grandpa talk in it, like that kind of. I don't, you know, I don't know why that's a sound that I don't like. You know, it just got to me that way. So you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. I like pretty much everything else Pink Floyd did. And don't get me wrong, I love The Wall. I just didn't love half of it. I loved half of it. Glenn Brock. Phil Collins was much better drummer than Nick Mason. More versatility, I agree. Glenn says Waters' ego is too big to be part of it. I think there's a complication with having Roger Waters part of it since David Gilmour controls the name. I think would have complicated things if Roger Waters was part of it, and he's under the moniker of Pink Floyd again. I don't know. I'm just guessing. We're all guessing. We don't know. We don't know if he was even asked. We don't know what the state of their relationship is. If you want to hear the song, by the way, I would gladly ask you to leave this stream. Please like our video before you do and listen to the song. It's in the description of this video. The link, it's the only thing in the description. I didn't want to be confusing. So there you go. Yeah, my clock, I'm in Atlantic time. So is it wrong? Yeah, it's 7:35. Oh, I never changed the clock when the time changed. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're not even at Atlantic time. We're in Eastern time. Oh, yeah, and your username is Liberty A. Bell. Liberty Bell. Shadow Man. Not a big fan of The Wall. Like, would you say it's not in your top 5 Pink Floyd. Wish You Were Here was my favorite. I love Wish You Were Here. And the fact that it was recorded thinking about, hold on, just came up with a whole bunch of comments. It's distracting when you're in the middle of a thought and then you get like 10 comments that come up. Knox Draymond says the second drummer of the Foo Fighters died before Pink Floyd finally dismissed. Okay. Neil says, Glenn Brock, thank you. That's right, Jeff Vaccaro on drums on the wall. John, you're right. Glenn says, assume you are right. Waters is an egomaniac and Gilmour won't work with him. I mean, we don't know. Again, let's just realize we're all speculating. We don't know. I mean, these are all like you can't help but it's like when someone says so and so died. The first thing is what, why, what, huh? Everyone wants to know why. We live in a world where we want to know why something happened, right? And thanks, JB, Base Tower, Chase Tower. Sorry. So we live in a world of we want to know the reason why something happened or didn't happen, and we're plain as day. There's too many guys who do what I do, who just come up with these crazy, insane theories on what could have happened. He may not have wanted to work with him, or even that opened that can of worms, and he may not have had that kind of relationship with him at this point to want to work with him on this. That's just I don't know. I'm not psychic. I've worked with quite a few psychics in radio. Most of the time, it wasn't a good experience. So there you go. I've worked with a couple of psychics, by the way, just as an off topic, where if you work with them a whole bunch of times, you realize sometimes you're going, that's not cold reading. There's no way they would know that. Oh my God, they got it. That's great. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. And the next night you go out with them and they get nothing right, like nothing. And you go, okay, maybe this person has a few moments of brilliance and the rest is, so how useful is it overall? And I used to be a really new age guy. So anyway, yeah, I think Pedro, I think it's a great song too. I liked it. I like the fact that, you know, they've kind of made it sort of into a Pink Floyd song. Andrei Klivniak, that's his name. he is a good singer, and the fact that he's in the hospital right now. Let's remember that. That guy is in the hospital recovering right now. David Gilmour phoned him up and played him the song, which of course he liked. So indirectly, he can say he's on an official Pink Floyd song, and then the Roger Waters fans will come in and say, well, it's not official unless Roger's in it, and you've got your own opinion. Everyone's got their opinions about that, and I understand that. There's not a lot of people defending Roger Waters right now on this feed, I've noticed, but not that I wanted them or not, but it's just interesting to see when someone walks into a room. Remember, I've always said this, when someone walks into that room, you look at that person and you have an opinion on that person right away. Everyone does, whether they want to admit it or not. Oh, I'm blank. I wait to see. No, everyone just gets a vibe or something, especially if the person has a reputation, and reputation is someone else's business. That's the way reputation works. You're not in charge of your reputation. Other people will decide what your reputation is, and you got to let that go. That's just one of those things. People just decide whether they're right or wrong. And there's a certain thing that happens when Roger Waters maybe walks through the room. I don't know. To me, he'd still be a guy I'd want to interview. I think he'd be an incredible mind to talk to. Politically on some things, I'm sure I wouldn't agree with him, but I don't tend to talk politics with people. That's how you make enemies out of people. I have friends on both sides, no matter what. I really, really do. And then I stay away from people who believe in kooky stuff that is not real. So there you go. Let me go back to comments. Then we're going to wrap things up. Tom says, just tuned in. If this pans out, it's made my year so far. Okay, well, it's a cool song. Pookie says, Bob Close, also original Pink Floyd guitarist. FD, song and video on above link. Yes, it's in the link in the description. So like I said a while ago, gladly, Pink Floyd releasing a new song is much bigger than me and my channel, right? So if you do leave to listen to it, and I hope you do, really, you should listen to it, just press the like button before you leave. It's in the description. It's the only thing in the description of this video. The new Pink Floyd song. There you go. I thought it was really, really cool. And Andre is, he's an interesting singer. He's cool. Fits right in. Dog Groomer. Hi, all. Just tuning in. Knox says the grass was greener. Surf Boy. Hello from Boston. Hi, Surf Boy. Nice to have you on here. Shadow Man. Roger Waters is what made me pick up the bass. Plus, him and I have the same birthday. Ah, cool. I still love Pink Floyd stuff made without him. I do too, as a matter of fact. I was playing to get my son up this morning, and I played Pink Floyd Animals this morning, and then he wouldn't get up, Chase, and I have a tendency to go in the morning and play Dark Side of the Moon, especially the beginning of it. It's cool. The Endless River, Knox says. Surf Boy, what's going on? What did I miss? Okay, paraphrase really fast. Pink Floyd, David Gilmour, Nick Mason, not Roger Waters, and of course Richard Wright died in 2008. So it's David Gilmour and Nick Mason got together and used the track from Andrei Klivniuk, who's a Ukrainian singer. He was singing a Ukrainian song of unity, which he already recorded in front of a cathedral. David Gilmour took that, and Nick Mason, and they got together with Guy Pratt, and there was another musician in there, and they basically did a Pink Floyd version of it. So it's not anybody from Pink Floyd singing. It's Andre, and Andre's in the hospital right now because he's been hit by mortar. It's like he's hurt, but he's recovering. David Gilmour sent it to him. They released a video. The description, in the description of this video, you'll find the song. There you go. And tomorrow, keep in mind, we're going to have Serge Tagnaragno, who's a lead singer, or was a lead singer of Reunite and Friends, who did all the Chicago songs. He's coming on with us at 11 a.m. Atlantic time, which is 10 a.m. Central time. And he's going to take your questions, and he's in Kyiv, and he'll take your questions about what's going on, the state of his future with Reunite and Friends. And like I said, he'll take your questions, and he possibly will play some songs for you. What a voice. That guy has a voice. He's in his apartment. We talked to him 2 weeks ago, and he was just a great guy. So that's it. Surf Boy, that's what you missed. I'm going to wrap things up. Just wanted to come on here and talk about it. But please join us for tomorrow with Serge Tagnaragno. of Leonid and Friends, well, formerly, I guess, because they're touring and without him, and he has to stay because his dad's ill, and he has to stay in Kyiv to take care of his dad. His wife, who's a TV reporter, is in Poland along with his kids. So it's tough for him. I don't know what kind of existence that is. 2 weeks ago, when I talked to him from Kyiv in his hotel, I said, "What do you think about when you go to bed and you lay your head on the pillow?" And he says, "I just wish that I wake up," because he still could be bombed. Guys, take care of yourself. Remember, you look what's happening in Ukraine. We're lucky. We're lucky not to be in that situation. But if we can, we got to do what we can to help, right? I always say it's our fellow man. I never understood in my life, trying to understand other countries and what they believe in. I mean, if someone believes in something that I think is kooky, then that's kooky, but it doesn't have necessarily have anything to do with where they're from. And what's happening there is devastating. It's awful. So we'll have Serge on tomorrow from Leonid and Friends formerly, and he'll take your questions, possibly play some songs, and we'll find out what's happening from his perspective. This is our second interview with him from Kyiv, our third overall interview. Take care of yourself. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music.